Hey guys, this is the Thursday before Telford. Obviously, a lot of you guys are looking forward to it, and as I explained in my recent video, unfortunately, I'm not going to be there this year for the fourth year running. But hey, that's the way it goes. However, as promised, I said I was going to give you a little stash update anyway. Again, quite a bit in, so this might be another long video. There's one or two items that I didn't mention in my last stash update, which I'm going to feature in this update. So if it seems like there's a lot, it's whereby some of the stuff I'd actually got in I'd missed. So it's not a lot, but I mean I've I must admit I've got a lot in this month. So try not to fall asleep. So what we're going to start off with is I managed to get some tools and materials in because obviously I'm looking at trying to do the old figure painting. And what I forgot to mention last month was that I'd actually got an airbrush in, which is it was recommended by a lot of modelers when it came out, and dirt cheap. I know Luke Carswell gave it a review and said he was quite pleased with it for the price he got of it off Amazon, and on that basis I actually got one myself. So there you go, that's the one. So as and when I get a chance, I'm going to give that a little test run on one of my figures and see how it goes and see if it's as good as they say it is, you know. So we shall see. Also, in regard to brushes, I've got a mass of brushes in now. So I've got 1, 2, 3, which I got these online at a very cheap rate, around about £3 or £4 a pack. Which I must admit I was very chuffed with. I mean, admittedly, there was one set out I got in. I wasn't that pleased with the quality of them, if you can see it on there. So what I think I'll be using those brushes for is weathering in the future. Yeah, so well, I mean, if brushes are a bit crap anyway, you tend to use these sort of things for weathering and pigments and applying pigments, that sort of thing. So what I'm going to use is that. These I have a local shop called The Range. For about £3, believe it or not. And also these, which I got for about £3.99 as well. So I did pretty well out of that. So as regards to brush supply, I've got stacks, so I haven't got any problems there. And then also I managed to get a little airbrush cleaning pot off of Amazon as well. So that was about, I think, around about £8 something, I think. So I didn't do too bad there. So I'm pretty chuffed with that. And the one thing I didn't mention was in my last stash update was some reading material I got in. So basically, one that will come in handy is this one. Which is Ryfield's Tigers Modelling the Ryfield Family, and it basically goes through all the range of all the Tigers that they've ever released up to today, and it just gives you some very specific techniques on weathering, painting, and what you can do in your builds. So I would say if you're a big Tiger nut and you love building your Tigers, particularly Ryfield, definitely get yourself one of these. You can get these online. I think I've bought this for about £15. So yeah, heartily recommend it. I really do. So if you need an essential resource material, a reference material, get this. It's a good one. And also what I managed to sell on eBay as well was this one. So if you're into your sci-fi modelling, is this one. It's called Gravity, Sci-Fi Modeling's Perfect Guide to the 2000s. It's written by Jose Luis Lopez. So as you can see here, you've got the old AMT kit of the Star Wars Star Destroyer, and the techniques he's used on that awesome. To be honest with you, I regret selling off my Star Destroyer now, because I've had a look online and the prices are just absolutely ludicrous. I mean, you're talking about 90 quid now. So in that essence, I regret departing from with that one, because it was such a nice looking kit. It was a bit basic, but to be honest with you, what you could do to make it look pop is run out these techniques on this one. It not only goes into that, you've got a fighter from the reboot of Battlestar Galactica. I don't know what that one is. It's sort of on the basis of a MiG, I think, MiG-15. And then obviously you got the Batmobile as well. The Tumbler from the Dark Knight series. As you can see there, looks awesome. Goes through the various building techniques, etc., how to detail it, etc. And then obviously you've got the Cylon Raider craft there. Again, there's all various techniques you can use, even the Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars saga with the Star Destroyer. You've got where else? Slave One, as you can see there. Obviously, you've also got the X-Wing again there. And what else is there? Oh yeah, obviously you've got the Star Destroyer, which you can see there. Looks pretty damn awesome. Shows you how to make the material look better. Also you got the silencer from Kylo Ren. Orc Bomber. What else is there? Sandstalker, which you can see there. And also you got a little mini diamond with hex models and Mac Sandstalker as well. So it's got a wealth of detail, wealth of techniques you can actually use to make the kits really pop up and look like the actual ones used in the movie. So it is, or even the Interstellar Craft as well. That's a superb film if you ever get to watch that. I have heard rumours they've actually made a sequel, so we'll see. And there's the Interstellar Craft again. So it just gives you the very techniques, or even how to wire it up if you want to put LEDs in. So yeah, it's a handy book guide if you're into your sci-fi modelling. It's written by somebody called, well, as I say, Jose Luis Lopez, and I think I got that one for about £25 actually. So I mean, that was ages ago and I never forgot to actually mention this, but hey, there you go. Also I got this little book for about £2, believe it or not. Again, it's just about the actual aircraft itself. You've got lovely photo shots of the 707. A little bit of introduction and history about each aircraft, each airline that had it. Fantastic photographs of a bygone age of a classic airline, even British Caledonian there, look. BMA. Air Egypt, some of the cargo lines, Fast Air, JAT, you name it, it's here. So it's a good sort of source reference really if you're building a 707, which is a very classic airliner. She was one of the old Smoky Joes. This is going to come in handy as well. I've got this one for £5. It's the Sterling at War. If you can, yeah, just look on eBay and you'll be able to pick some copies up, or any of some of these online book sites. Again, it's very concise about the history of the aircraft. There's some fantastic photos in here. So if you're building either the Italeri or the classic old Airfix kit, this is going to come in handy for you for a sort of reference as well. I mean, you've got nice shots of the cockpit, etc. And various photographs, the prototype, Mark 1, the Luftwaffe Sterling that was captured. Obviously how they were used in the bombing campaign. you name it, it's all there. Even when you know, even the ones that were used for Operation Market Garden on parachute jumps and glider tugs, and even where they've actually sort of excavated crash sites as well. So yeah, it's a worthwhile book. I think a lot of these came out in the sort of late 70s, mid 80s. I know my dad had 3 of them on the Lancaster. So yeah, they are good books. They really are good source of reference material as well. So yeah, good book that one. So look it up. And then obviously I've got a couple of the old classic Ian Allen books on classic airliners, the BAC 111 and the Airbus A310. Again, this is a good source reference material, particularly if you're modelling the BAC 111 or if you've got a model of the old Airbus A310. Actually, I think this is about the early versions of the Airbus, the A300 and the 310. And this came out at the time when they were actually in general service, so this is quite a classic old book actually. Again, you can look them up on eBay if you can source them. So yeah, and then this one I actually got off a book site on historical model ships. This is basically building wooden ships. Now, having watched Harry Houdini and Frankie Day, you know, this might come in handy in the future if I fancy building a wooden model ship. Again, it's very concise, gives you the various tips on construction, how to do bottled ships, etc., modify kits, references to the actual ship you're building, or even scratch building, etc., the rigging of the schooners, you name it, it's all in here. So yeah, go out and get one. Right, that's those. And then obviously we're going on to the main crux of the agenda, what kits I managed to get the moustache. So what we're going to start off with a few Airfix kits. Some I bought online, some I went on auctions, etc. with Veteranus kits. First one is an old classic aircraft from World War I, and it was used as a trainer up until around about 1930, 32, 33. And that's the old Airfix Avro 504K. I've always wanted to get one of these actually. I am going to see if I can get some aftermarket decals, because I think the decals have gone on this actually. Let's have a little look. No, actually they're not in they're not in too bad a condition, so I might well use these. So there's the decals. Yeah, they seem to be in pretty good condition, so I may well use those actually when I get around to building this kit. I might sort of bunce up the interior a bit, because there's not a lot in it, to be honest with you. So I'm going to see if I can get some 3D printed basket sleeves and stuff, and see if that can sort of pop the detail up in this little vintage kit. So yeah, I've always wanted a 504, now I've got one. So there you go. Next one up is one I won on Veteranus kit. So I think I got this one for about £17. It's a reboot of the old BAE Sea Harrier FRS1, and this is one of 2 versions you can actually use, which was featured during the Falklands War. You've got it in the old anti-dark grey, overall anti-dark grey scheme, dark grey, easy for you to say. Anyway, extra dark sea grey, or you can do it in the lighter grey as well. So you've got the option of actually doing an aircraft, which I think was involved in an action attacking the Rio Caracamania, an Argentine cargo ship carrying munitions to the Falklands Islands, and I think they actually ended up sinking it. So yeah, so I might well do it on that kit and on that basis. So that will go nicely with my little Harrier collection, that will, alongside the little P1127 which I've got. These 2 actually won at Veteranus as well. First one off is my favourite mark of Spitfire, and that is the Supermarine Spitfire PR19. I would love to get the 1/48 kit of this as well, but they're hard to get hold of now, so you really have to search around. But this one is still readily available on eBay, and as I say, I won this one at Veteranus Kits, one of their auctions. I think altogether this was around about £17 for this one, and of course the Lightning F6. So that is a classic aircraft from the 50s and 60s. And she first went into service in 1960 and retired in around about 1988. So it had a long distinguished service career. I mean, the moulds in this kit are beautiful. So if I get time, I might do an inbox review on this one as well. So I've got that. I just love the Lightning. And then obviously I've got another one here, which is still available, I think. It is, of course, the Western Sea King HAR3. But what I'm going to have a go at is see if I can convert this to an old HAS Mark 1. So I'm going to do a bit of research on this when I get around to the build. I've got the aftermarket decals because I want this as a Sea King from the old Ark Royal. Because sadly, unfortunately, the Italeri one, which I had in my stash once, and I was a bit of an idiot giving it away, you can't get hold of anywhere. They just don't exist anymore. So I thought, well, why don't you set yourself a challenge and convert this one into an HAS Mark 1. So that's what I'm intent on doing. And I don't think it's that hard to do, to be honest with you. So we shall see. Not only that, the Airfix mouldings are far better than Italeri. No disrespect to Italeri, of course. So there you go. Anyway, next up, we got a few of the old Airfix kits in the old Classics Vintage range. Starting off with a very unusual aircraft that showed full of promise, but unfortunately wasn't taken up commercially as a commercial viability because of the cost of running it. And that is, of course, the Fairey Rotodyne. This came out around about 4 or 5 months ago, reissued again, and as soon as it came out I had to snap one up. It is a bit crude, I will say in parts, but thankfully the decals are done by Cartograph, and apparently you can actually get some aftermarket sets of a What If as a BEA Redtail aircraft had it gone into service, because they did provisionally wanted to buy these, and then obviously with the government funding being dropped, it was all cancelled sadly. But there you go. So there you are. Next up, one I've had in once before, and I still managed to grab hold of it, of a unique craft, and that is the SRN-1 hovercraft, which was the prototype. Thankfully I managed to get a mast set for this. It's not a bad looking kit, and I'm sure it builds up to a superb little subject of an unusual craft. In fact, this was the very first hovercraft made by Saunders Roe. So there you are. And I think you can still get hold of it, but I don't know if they're going to stop the production run on it soon. Next one up, I've had this in before and then sold it off, but I've got it back in again because I intend to get myself another Hercules at some stage, is the Bristol Bloodhound missile set, along with your little Land Rover there. So as I'm going to get another Herc, I'm going to put that with it on a sort of a diorama. So there you go. And then finally, in the classics, get my teeth back in. The Classics Vintage range is this one, which was released a couple of months ago. It's the Bristol 192 Belvedere. Now, it is a bit crude on parts, and I think with the air intakes, I'm going to have to see if I can get hold of some improved ones. The interior is going to need some work on it because it's very basic, so I'm going to have to do a lot of research in this, and I might get another one in before they go out of the production run and do it in a camo version. So yeah, we'll see about that. So there you go. And then I've got a range of 1/144th airliners to go through next. First off is the Boeing B337 Stratocruiser. Again, I won this on an eBay auction, Minicraft. I was trying to get hold of the old Boeck version, but you can't get it anywhere. But thankfully, I managed to source out some aftermarket decals for the BOAC version. So I'm probably going to be ordering them in at some stage, and that will go nicely with the old Stratocruiser here. because what I'm intending to do is do a range of aircraft that was used with BIC and BEA and obviously BA. So it might be a series that I will do possibly in the future when I get back up and running on my model builds. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to building. Actually, it's not bad for the scale. So there you go. Right, and another one which I'm glad I got hold of. I did actually have to pay through the nose for a bit for this one because it's it's my favourite airliner, and it is of course the VC10. This was a little bit expensive, but I thought, no, I need one in my stash. I will get Rodin's Super VC10, which is still available in the BOAC scheme, and possibly the Eastern Airlines one, but I'm going to get one of these. I'm hoping and I'm praying that next year Airfix, in their infinite wisdom, will really re-release this aircraft in the vintage classics range, because I know for one thing there are modelers out there who love the VC10, and I'm not kidding you, the prices I've seen these going for on eBay is ridiculous, but they snap them up because it's such a beloved aircraft. It's such a graceful, beautiful looking aircraft. So there you go. And then obviously I've got another classic airliner. Funny enough, I only got this one for about £19, and that's the BAC 111. Now again, I'm hoping and praying that Airfix in their infinite wisdom will reissue this little beauty. This was the aircraft I remember my mum and dad actually flew onto Mallorca in. They actually flew on a BCAL 111 as well. So yeah, she was known as the old pocket rocket, because when she took off, she was so loud you could hear her 5 minutes after she took off. You know, hence the name Pocket Rocket. But it was a very successful little airliner, a very classic British aircraft. I know another company's actually issuing the Super 111, which I may well get hold of a few examples then. Again, I'm going to do this for one of the old British Airways heritage builds that I'm going to do. I might well do it as a Negus scheme, and the other one's going to be the Landor scheme. And I've even got a set of decals for the BEA Redtail scheme, and I possibly might see if I can get hold of the old Speedjack scheme as well. To have a nice long run of them. So there you go. But as I say, I'm hoping and praying they're going to reissue this one in the Classics Vintage range next year, but we shall see, because apparently I've seen online that Airfix are going to make a big announcement tomorrow before Telford like they did last year, so we shall see. And another classic airliner, you've guessed it, yes it is, the old Boeing 707. And I am hoping to get another one of these, because I've actually seen a set of decals in the first BOA scheme when this airliner entered service at BOAC in 1958. So I'm going to get hold of the decals for that, and it is for this model with the old Rolls-Royce Spey engine. It's not Speys, Conway engines that you've got on this, with the very particular sort of exhausts on the back there. So I'm hoping to get about, how many have we got? 3 of those in my range. One I might do in a cargo version, but yeah, I'm going to do one in the earlier BOAC scheme, one in the Cunard BOAC scheme, and then obviously British Airways as well. So we shall see. And another classic old airliner I got in. It's featured as Dan Air, but I'm going to do it as possibly a BEA one, because I've got the decals in me a Redtail, because I've got the decals I think in my decal book, is the old de Havilland Comet 4, although this one's featured as a Dan Air aircraft. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that done. That is a classic, that one. Another classic, which, believe it or not, I actually got this as a vac form kit. I've already got one in my stash with the Classics Vintage range, but I saw this as a Welsh Models Skyliner series, and and I've never had a go at VAC-Form, but this was such a good deal. I got this for about £15, including post. It's Welsh Model Skyliner Series BEA Vanguard or Merchantman, and they've got it in the Speed Jack scheme. So I must admit the decals do look in good nick, but I think I'm going to plumb for the ones I've got in my aftermarket decal sheet range, because I've got that in a Speed Jack scheme as well. So I'm going to have one in a red tail, which is the one I've got downstairs, which I showed you last month, and then obviously this one I'm going to do in the Speed Jack scheme. So there you go. Another one, which is another mini craft kit. This I'm going to feature in my British Airways Heritage range, and I know they had them. This was the first sort of version of this particular aircraft with not the old Pratt & Whitney RT8D. This one is with the what engines did it have on it? Hang on, let me have a look in there. Does it say? This was powered by, hang on, CFM56 engines. It was the first version of the CFM56 version range of this particular aircraft, and it is the Minicraft 737-300. You do have the option of doing it in American Airlines, but I'm going to do it in the BA scheme. Either Landor or the multicultural one they did before they went to the Trafalgar scheme. So yeah, that's going to be part of my British Airways Heritage range. And then this one I saw, yeah, I did pay around about £25 for this one, but I just couldn't miss it out, because it actually gives you the option of doing it in, well, I think it's this one's the, hang on, let me have a little look. This is a classic airline, actually. I know Jerry saw it at Alaska, at Anchorage. In fact, he's going up there, I think the week after next, which I'm looking forward to seeing, because I've actually managed to update my membership, so I'll be able to see and watch it and see it live. This is a classic as well, from the old Smokey Joe era. And this actually is a kit by Fly. It's a limited edition one as well. It's the DC9 model 10, 20, 30, 40 or 50. And it comes in the markings of Ozark Airlines, which is an American airline. So yeah, I'm looking forward to building that. It does look a nice kit. Actually, I've got this as a steal for about £15. So I do shop around. And this one I've had them once before, but unfortunately I had to sell them off because I was in a bit of a tight spot. But I managed to get one back in again. This is going to be part of my British Airways Heritage range. It's the F-Risen DC-7C BOAC. It's a bit of a rough kit, but once it's built up, it looks good. The decals are looking good on it as well. In fact, if I get the decals out, I was quite surprised how good they looked. And you can either do it in the passenger version or a cargo aircraft, so I might get another one of these in. So yeah, they do look extremely good actually. So we shall see what they're like once I actually get this build done. And I don't intend to send these. I'll tell you one thing, I'm not selling any of this off. No way. Some of these kits you can't get hold of again, so I'm going to hold on to them. So there you go. Right, pop him back in the box. Put the kit back in there as well. It is a bit basic, but at the end of the day, I'm sure it builds into a lovely representation of this aircraft. So that's my airliners done. And then we go into another one. This one I actually got is a classic naval fighter. It only had a short service life, unfortunately. It was a precursor to the Phantom. It is, of course, EMA's F3H Demon. It is a bit basic, but I'm going to see if I can get some aftermarket cockpit sets for it compared to the Hobby Boss kit. It has got nice colour schemes. In fact, I'm not going to use those. I managed to get some aftermarket decals in for it as well. So I would dig them out, but I can't. I think what I'm going to do when I get around to this build is I'll show you the decals then. But yeah, it's a classic naval fighter. It, as I say, only had a relatively short service life before the Phantom came in. And I think this first entered service in the US Navy around about 1957-58. And by 1961 it was taken off the carriers and used as a sort of a training aircraft. And then they were finally retired around about 1966, I think. So yeah. Moving on to another classic World War II fighter. This is one I saw one of the Veteranus Kits auctions. It's a very rare one, actually. You can't. It's very hard to find. This is Dragon's DX06 2006 Hanneheim range of the 148th Focke-Wulf 190 A8R8, and they did a specific range on certain air races, and this is the Oscar Bosch's version. Does look a nice kit, actually. I've never built a Dragon aircraft yet, so it's a similar layout. I'm probably going to have to do a bit of research on this version. I think you've only got one set of markings on it. Anyway, let me have a little look. Yeah, you've only got the one set of markings, so I would assume that you know, you can basically build it out of the box. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that one because I haven't had a butcher bird in me stash for quite a while, actually. And this one is another one one of Veteranus Kits auctions, and I won this for about £21, including post. And it's Hobby 2000's reboxing of the old Hasegawa kit of the 148th Henshaw 129 B2 Eastern Front. Again, it looks a lovely kit. I probably will get some aftermarket for this one. Yeah, I would say it was probably the Luftwaffe's equivalent of the Beaufighter. And funnily enough, it's got an uncanny similarity to the way it's laid out to the Beaufighter, actually. It was very effective out in Russia and also in the North African campaign, especially with its tank busting capabilities as well. So yeah, it was quite a versatile looking fighter. So yeah, I'm looking forward to building that one. This one I did have in my stash but sold it off, but I've got it back again. It's in the 144th military aircraft range. I don't want anybody shouting out politics or anything like that. It's just the engineering behind it I like, and you do have two colour scheme options on this one. It's Academy Minicrafts 144th Russian Tu-22M3 Backfire C. You have the option of doing it either Russian aircraft or you can do it in Ukrainian Air Force aircraft. I shall go for the Ukrainian one more than likely. But as I say, it doesn't look a bad kit actually, considering it's 144th, and you do have the option of actually making the swing wings work on it. So yeah, it's quite an awesome beast actually. I would say that's probably the Russian equivalent of the Bone. So yeah. Right, and I've got myself a set of figures from ICM. It's based in a unit that was used out in Ukraine, and I'll probably put it with my Ukrainian Abrams that I've got in. It's a kit of some infantrymen, and it's called Quietly Came, Quietly Went. It's that one there, and I must admit the sculpts on those figures is blooming exquisite. So that will go nicely with the tank. So there you go. And talking of tanks, I've got a couple of armour items. This one I've had previously when I was, actually I think you'll probably remember this from when I was at my old cave. I got this via a hobby site where they got some extremely cheap deals on, and I got this one for about 24 quid, including the post. It's Mini Hobbies Models T72B, and you do have the option of doing it in 3 sets of markings. I think got East German, Russian and Polish or Czechoslovakian army. So again, does look a nice kit, and it's even got a motor for it, but I don't think I'll be using the motor on it anyway. And I like the reactive armour on it. I could even do it as a Ukrainian tank. The only thing it is a two-piece barrel on it, so standing it's going to be a nightmare. So I'm going to see if I can hunt out a metal barrel for this. And the tracks are vinyl, so it's more than likely I'll be able to get some aftermarket tracks somewhere. I'm pretty certain you can get them online and use those, and maybe doing with workable track links and that sort of thing to give it more sort of a sense of realism. So there you go. And then the other one, which I've had before, but I had to sell it when I moved. This one I got again for about £21, believe it or not. It's the Russian SAM-6 anti-aircraft missile vehicle, and it's made by Trumpeter, and it is a lovely, lovely kit, I have to say. So yeah, I don't know what the markings are for. Let me have a little look. It's an unusual but awesome looking vehicle. Let me see. What are the marking options on it? Yeah, it looks like the East German army. So yeah, I'll probably do it in either a camo or a plain green. Camo's quite an interesting one actually. That's the camo version. That one there. So yeah, I might have a crack at that, as opposed to the boring old green. So yeah, I think I will actually. I might have a go at that. I'm not sure, but I think the Ukrainian army have got these as well. So yeah, I might see if I can source some Ukrainian markings on it. So that's the full extent of my armour this month. So I only got 2 pieces of armour in. Shame, shame, I hear you say. When you know I'm pretty an armour modeler, but yeah, I do love my aviation. Anyway, next one up, and quite fittingly, obviously because it's been the 80th anniversary of D-Day this year, I got this one again on a Veteranus auction, £25 plus postage. It's of course the 172nd Airfix C-47 Douglas Skytrain, and then these D-Day markings as well, although I do have the option of using it as a different aircraft. Again, I must admit, kudos to Airfix. I mean, their moulds on this particular one are exquisite compared to the Hobby Box kit that I had some years ago. It's detail, and this is just exquisite. So I am going to see if I can source some figures for paratroopers and aircrew in this, and I know where there is some. I think there is one guy who does 3D printing garage kits, and he does them in all sorts of scales, 1/72nd, 1/48th, 1/35th. You know, you can get them done for him. So I may well follow that up, because I'm thinking of doing a nice little vignette of it on the ground with the troops embarking, getting ready to do their jump over Normandy. So there you go. This one again is another one of Veteranus kits. It's not bad. It's a bit crude when I opened it up, but I just bought it because of the actual colour scheme it's in. I got this one for about, how much was it? I think it was about 20 all told. So yeah, here we go. It is Revell's F-16 Air Team of the Thunderbirds. So there you go. It's quite a nice colour scheme, that. It's going to need some work on the interior, so I may well source out some aftermarket for this. I'm not sure I'm going to do it in that scheme. I might do it in one of the European aircraft. But it's, I say, it's a bit crude in parts, but decals, I mean, you've got the option of doing a Dutch one in this, in a Dutch scheme. In fact, I've got some, yeah. I think the guy sent me some aftermarket ones here, but they are a little bit faded. Yeah, it is. It's actually, I think, which one is it? Royal Netherlands Air Force. So I might do it in that scheme. So we'll see. Yeah, could be a big basis for that, because I think, yeah, I think the Royal Netherlands Air Force have just retired their F-16s for F-35s now. So yeah, so I think I might well get an aftermarket exhaust engine set, cockpit set, and maybe a set for the internal workings of the undercarriage bays on this. But it's quite a nice size for 1/48. I've never got an F-16 before, so this is going to be quite exciting when I get around to building it. But I don't think I'm going to do it in the Thunderbird scheme. I'll probably do it in the Dutch one, so we'll see. Oh, the Royal Netherlands Air Force. Next up is another one I got on a auction, on one of Veterans Kits auctions, and you're saying, "Cock, you've went in for a few auctions." Yeah, I did. This one, believe it or not, I got for £11. It's an old Hilaire 150th Sakata MS-233 GT rallying aircraft. The only thing is the canopy is snapped, so I'm going to see if I can source a vac form one, or if there's anybody who can vac form that for me out there, just leave a note in your comments and I would be happy to pay for it. So there you go, the offer's there. So yeah, if you can 3D print it for me in a clear plastic thing, you know, in 1/50th scale, I'll be very, very happy to do so, because this is a lovely looking little aircraft. And I haven't built a little private aircraft before. It's a nice size actually as well. As I say, unfortunately the canopy is slightly broken. I was a bit disheartened when I opened that up and saw that, but there you go. Oh, hang on, let's just get the bloody instruction sheet out with the bloody DC3. Dear. Or the C47, sorry. So let me put that in there. Hang on, I'm going to put that back in there. Okay. Now, I ordered this kit thinking it was 1/72nd, and too much to my surprise, I thought, you plonker. But it does look a lovely little kit. It's actually a 1/144th. And I thought I got it in 1/72nd, because I know Airfix have actually just reissued this kit, this aircraft, in the Classics Vintage range, but I did find, compared to Valom have got the better quality kit. But all the same, for a 1/144 kit, it's got a remarkable amount of detail, especially on the interior. It's Valom's Handy Page Hamden B Mark 1. So there you go. Yeah, as I say, I was a little bit dismayed that I've got myself a 1/144 when I actually didn't think to check the scale on this before I actually bought it. I just naturally assumed it was 1/72nd. So I'll probably, yeah, I've seen one I've got on hold on eBay. I'll probably end up getting that one anyway, because I have to say, out of the two, Valom's kit is slightly superior, and it's actually got a more accurate surface, whereas with the old Airfix kit, it's heavily riveted, you see, and there isn't much detail to the interior. So yeah, I'd rather go with the Valom kit actually. So there you go. Right, next one is my favourite fighter of the Second World War, and I know Phil Flory built this and he absolutely raved at it. I mean, admittedly I did pay about £29 for it, but considering what you pay for it, it's a lovely kit. I mean, the actual details on it is beautiful, and it's actually of my version I prefer to build. It's a Hurricane Mark II-C from Hobby Boss. It's a lovely little gem of a kit, very accurate in the mouldings, and the thing I like about it is it does it in the old Night Fighter version as well. So it's a toss up between that one or the all black Night Fighter. I think I'm going to go for the all black Night Fighter actually. So yeah, there you go. And this one I've had in me sort of wish list for a while, because I was going to do a series of Swedish aircraft, and I was lucky to get this because actually this one is the first ever Swedish built fighter. The original version was a push propeller version. This is the Special Hobby Saab JA21R, and that was Sweden's first ever fighter jet. So the moulds in it are beautiful. 1/72nd obviously. I mean I did have a series of Swedish aircraft, if you remember, but unfortunately I had to sell them all off. But I'm going to get them all in again, and I'm possibly going to get some of Special Hobby Sale big uns. And I've got also on hold in the basket on eBay is the Hasegawa Draken. So yeah, as I say, it's a lovely looking little kit. The detail on it, service detail and everything, the cockpit's beautiful. So we shall see. This one, well, two more, which I won at Veteranos' auctions. I know what you're going to say, how much bloody money you've been spending through them. This one I think I've got about 17. Although I've already got a Hobby 2000 kit in it, it's actually in the markings of the last Harrier that did the last ever display at Dunsfold, I think around about 2015. Was that the year they retired the Harrier? Was it 2017? That was 2015 I went there. And I actually saw this aircraft perform, and that's why I bought it really. It's the BAE Harrier GR Mark 7/9, and that was the colour scheme that was in that very aircraft. So that's what I actually put in for it. Again, I'm going to have to get an aftermarket set for the cockpit, maybe get some aftermarket nozzles. But basically, it's not a bad kit, really. It's not a bad kit. Not as good as the Hobby 2000 one, which my friend Britt bought me, but yeah, nice kit though. Nice kit, and I shall do it in those markings. I think it's in those markings. Let me have a little look. Yeah, me and me Harriers. But this is in 1/72 as opposed to 1/48. So there you go. So that's going with me little 1/72 Harrier range alongside the Sharp. Again, another one I won on the auctions at Veteranos. I've had my eye on this one for a long time. It was a classic fast jet trainer. The Red Arrows used it, and then it obviously was swapped over to the Hawk in around about 79, 1980. It is, of course, the 1/48th Holland Nat T Mark 1, and I love this colour scheme. So I'm going to do it in those markings. As I say, a lot of these are in private hands now. I think there's about 4 or 5 of them flying in the country on the airshow circuit now. And you do have the option of having it with the nose up. So yeah, it's going to be one I'm going to really look forward to building. It looks like a nice little gem of a kit too. And obviously, because I'm always watching the jets fly in and out of Lakenheath on the Ted Coningsby channel, so check them out. Because he tends to go to military airfields as opposed to Jerry doing military and civil. The TV's gone off, but never mind. This one, I had him before, but I sold that and the F-15C off. This is the F-15E Strike Eagle by Hobby Boss in the 492nd or 494th Fighter Squadron Group, based at Lakenheath. So that will go nicely alongside my F-111 that I've got. And so yeah, I'm actually planning on trying to get hold of the F-15C, which was based there as well. The decals, I saw one seller, but he's not willing to send them to the UK. So I'm going to see if I can get hold of them anywhere else before I buy the F-15C. So yeah, I want to do a series of aircraft that was based at Lakenheath as well. So that might be another build series in the future. And you remember I got the Vulcan last month? Well, I got its actual stablemate, which was only in service for about 8 years. It was the first of the V bombers, and it is, of course, the Vickers Valiant B Mark 1 or BPRK1 tanker version. You've either got the option of doing it in the reconnaissance tanker version, which is in silver, featured on the box art, or you've got the option of doing it in the other aircraft, which was used over the, I think it was the first hydrogen test, bomb test, with the Operation Grapple. So yeah, or you've got the option of doing the bomb. You've got the Grapple bomb in there. It's a massive bomb though. But it's a lovely looking kit. This is the reissue. Obviously, I don't know how long they're going to keep this in production. I think the Victor has gone out of production now. I'm either going to plumb for the cheaper old Matchbox Revell reboxing. Admittedly, it's a bit crude. There are raised panel lines. It does need a little bit of extra work to it, but it's a lot cheaper than the Airfix kit. I looked at trying to get hold of the Tanker version, and the only one that was on eBay, believe it or not, ran for, and get this, £199.49. That was the Tanker version with Airfix. There is no way I can justify myself in paying out that sort of money. I'm sorry, but no. Unless they reissue it again, I am not going to pay nearly 200 quid for a kit. As good as it may well be, because my initial idea, because obviously I've got the Black Buck Raid, I was going to get the Victor to go alongside it as though it was refueling in midair. During that operation, what was it, Black Buck? But I just cannot justify paying out that ridiculous amount of money for plastic, you know. Admittedly, they got the bomber version, which is still readily available. I may well plumb for that and maybe see if I can convert it, or even better still, I may plumb for the Rare Planes kit, the Vakform version. I don't know. We'll see. So there you go. And my final kit I purchased, and because I have been so enamored with the builds that Harry Houdini's been doing on his sailing ships, I saw this, and when I saw this, I thought the film Master and Commander, because this actual ship was featured in the film, and it did actually do a lot of nuisance raids down that part of the world in the Pacific, which was historically accurate. And it is, of course, Zvezda's, and I won this in an auction as well. Sorry. Veteranus. It is the 1/200th Acheron, the French frigate. So I've had a look at it. It's not a bad kit, actually. The only thing I may well, I've already inquired with Harry as to whether he actually does the rigging set for the, you know, these bits here. I forgot what they call them now. These bits here which you use to climb up to get on the masts. I forgot what they call them now. Are they stays or something like that? And I'm going to see if I can get some authentic sails. I mean, I must admit it's probably going to cost me a bomb to get them, but as and when I do, I think it's going to make it look more sort of accurate. And unfortunately, there is no dead eyes in this, so I'm wondering, Harry, do you do the dead eyes for this, the sets for this? If you do, just leave a comment in the comments column, and I may well follow that up with you, and maybe the rigging set you've got for it as well, if you have it. If not, don't worry. But it does look a real beauty of a kit. I mean, this is what it basically looks like once it's built. You know, I mean, the sails in it are pretty much Vakform. I mean, you've probably weathered them up, etc., but they really won't have the real essence of a sailing ship, really. But I have to say, it does look a lovely kit. I might possibly do an inbox review on this. But yeah, that's because obviously I remember the film Master and Commander, and this ship was actually featured in it. It's a bit of a shame that no sort of mainstream kit manufacturer does the HMS Surprise. I think there was an HMS Surprise. I don't know if it was just purely fictional or if there was actually an HMS Surprise of that period, in the Napoleonic period. And I can't say I've actually seen a plastic injection molded one. I think there was an old wooden assembled kit you could do of one, but oh, Jesus Christ, it was nearly 900 quid. So yeah, I'm hoping at some stage maybe a main kit manufacturer might well do one of HMS Surprise, because although I've seen the film, it actually inspired me to read all the books, and there is 21 books in the series. And they are a thoroughly gripping read. The way they are written by Patrick O'Brian is just, you could actually hear this in your mind's eye. The way the ship's creaking, the actual noise and smell of the battles. Brilliantly written books. And if you are into your military naval history and you love that sort of thing, I fully recommend you read Patrick O'Brian's series on those. I think the first one is called Master and Commander, believe it or not. And as I said, it was 21 books. It took me 5 years to read them, but they're one of those books that you just cannot put down. It really is that well written. I even got his unfinished one because he was halfway through the 21st book, and unfortunately, tragically, he passed away. So yeah. Anyway, that's it, guys. Really, it's been running at nearly an hour. So that's it, really. I probably won't get any more in now, to be honest with you, not until the new year. And even then, I'm not going to get too many because I'm going to run out of room. Because I've got 2 sets of storage boxes. I've got it in the spare room and down in the alcove near the utility area in storage boxes. Because unfortunately, my landlord informed me that the shed is steadily falling down, and I had them all in there. So I've had to move them out. So there you go. But that's basically it, guys. So there you go. I hope you haven't fallen asleep. It's been a bit of a marathon, I know. In fact, I think it's run longer than the last one I did on my stash update. And we're at nearly 57 minutes. So there you go. I'm going to call it quits for now. As I say, I haven't done any more work on the Arthur Shelby figure at the moment because I'm waiting to get some paints in. Yeah, depending on the weather, I might have a go at it this weekend, actually. We'll see if life doesn't distract me. But that's it, guys. All I shall remain to say is, for those of you going to Telford, have a fantastic weekend. Spend lots. And as I say, I look forward to the announcement with Airfix tomorrow. I wonder what they've got in the bag. Maybe it's going to be their big announcement for the kit they're going to bring out next year. So we shall see. I know they sort of did a surprise announcement about getting their Bristol Super Freighter out again, which I'm pleased about. So that may well be one for the new year. So there you go. Anyway, that's it. I've waffled on enough. I'm going to let you guys enjoy your time at the bench or whatever you're doing. As I say, have a fantastic time at Telford this weekend, and all being well, next year I might be there with you guys for 2025. So in the meantime, stay safe, enjoy your time on the bench, get cracking with those builds. And now, because the nights are drawn in and it's winter, it's the busiest time of year for model making. I know when I've been to Telford, it's just been such an inspiration for me to get home and get back on that bench and get building. So there you go. Anyway, in the meantime, get kit crazy, happy modelling, stay safe, and have a fantastic time at Telford this year. And I'll speak to you soon. Cheers.